and they would have had great careers.
Interesting thought. But see, secondly, now, of all the point guards that you watch in the NBA, which one, if you had to watch one on a game-by-game basis, which point guard are you watching right now?
Oh, I'm watching Kyrie, and I'm watching Steph. I mean, and Damian Lillard. Those are the three that, if they're on TV, I want to watch. I think they're all special. They all can shoot the ball. They all get to the basket. Are great competitors. I enjoy watching those three. And Chris Paul and other guys, I can keep going down. Brandon Wade, D. Rose. But those three guys are the guys that I would definitely sit up and watch.
Rod, what are your thoughts on this year's playoffs?
I'm enjoying it. I think it's been a really good playoffs. I think as it goes along, closer to the finals, this semifinals and then the finals will be a great series. The Miami-Toronto series will be interesting. Miami doesn't have the big guy. I think he got hurt. I don't know if he's coming back. But Dwayne Wade has to shoulder the load and try to get them over the top. Toronto has the home court advantage, so I think that'll be an interesting series. I think Miami could pull it out, surprise some people and pull it out. San Antonio, OKC, I think that'll go probably the 7-game series. It's been up and down. OKC has been really good or really bad, so they have to find a way to string a couple wins together. I think got to get the cohesiveness with I'm forgetting names with Durant and Westbrook, as well as their teammates. They got to get a little more cohesiveness, but I think OKC may be able to sneak that out. I know I'm probably the underdog on that one, but I'm looking forward to that series. In Golden State, I think they'll get rid of Portland soon. The next game in Golden State, obviously we've seen Steph Curry back and, just saw him put on a great performance. I actually missed it. I fell asleep on overtime, but I saw the highlights in the morning. But that was Steph being Steph. But I love watching Portland. And I said point guards. I'm gonna put C.J. McCollum in there too because I love watching him. I think that court is great to watch.
Yeah, they're a very, very exciting backcourt. Speaking of backcourts, when you played, now your career goes back from 1988 into 2005. So basically, you played in 3 basically decades in the NBA. Of all the guys that you've had to guard and go against, who is the hardest one you had to guard?
Well, there's a lot of them, but off the top, I would say Kevin Johnson was one of the toughest guys. He wasn't the fancy guy, but he came right at you. He can shoot the pull-up. He can get to the basket. Tough competitor. He was definitely hard to guard. Then you had Tim Hardaway with the crossover and, the strong, tough point guard, Gary Payton, Stockton. It's hard to just say one, but those are a few names.
Who played the toughest defense on you?
The toughest defenders were Derek Harper and Greg Anthony and Eric Snow. Those were the 3 toughest guards I had to play against, and that was probably because they were like, I think Derek Harper and Greg Anthony was kind of my size, my height, and they also were quick. So usually I had an advantage. I either was probably a little bigger or I was quicker, and those guys kind of had both, and they were tough.
That's interesting. Interesting answer right there, Eric Snow. I didn't see that one coming. If you don't mind, yeah, exactly. If you don't mind sharing with us a funny locker room story or off-court story, that'd be excellent. Do you have one in mind?
To be honest, I don't have a funny one that comes to mind. I got some other stories, but I'm gonna keep them to myself.
There you go.
I can't think of any funny ones at the moment.
Okay, here's one for you then. If you don't have a funny story, since you played against Tim Hardaway and Allen Iverson, who had the better crossover?
That's a good question. I think they both was kind of different because Tim's was low and compact and short, whereas Allen Iverson's was kind of high and wide. You know what I mean? He carried it a little bit. He had that hand under the ball a little bit. So I would say the most efficient one probably was Tim Hardaway. Allen Iverson probably had more of the crowd pleaser one. But I think if I was looking as a point guard and I'm looking at the two crossovers and I'm trying to teach somebody how to crossover, I probably would try to teach them instead of AIs.
Is there any player in today's game that has a better crossover than even those two guys? Like, say, Steph Curry, Jamal Crawford would be in the mix, Chris Paul, Kyrie Irving.
Kyrie.
Exactly.
I think all of them have great crossovers. I don't know if I could say who has the best crossover, but Tim and AI is right there with those guys. No doubt about it. You can just lump them all together.
We know, Rod, you played for a while. Of all the coaches you played for, who was the best coach that you ever had?
I'm going to say this. I only played 1 year with him, but I loved playing for him and I loved being around him. And that was Pat Riley. And that's because I just loved his attitude, his intensity. He was one of those guys. If you win, you're great. If you lose, you're not great. Like, there was no in between. It was all about winning. And he spoke to everybody and he dealt with everybody the same way, whether he was the best player or the worst player. And he just had a soldier way about him and intensity, and he pushed everybody, and I enjoyed playing for him. But I also played for Larry Brown, who was great, Rick Adelman, who really kind of helped me flourish and become a better player when I got to Portland, kind of expanded my game, Bernie Bickerstaff. And right off the top, those are the guys that I enjoyed playing for. I also played for Flip Saunders. It was for a short period of time, but I would say I really loved being around and being in the atmosphere of Pat Riley.
Now, you speak of coaches. Now, you transitioned your way, after being a player for a long time. Now you're a coach. I know you started the bench in Kentucky. Now you're at South Florida. And what made you, first, decide to go into coaching? And two, what are you teaching more of the point guards, or your aspect is to become a head coach one day?
Yeah, well, while I was playing as a basketball player, I've always been a basketball guy, basketball junkie. I mean, basketball has been my life. So for me, the natural transition was to be a part of basketball when it was over with. I had a coaching opportunity with John Calipari in Memphis, and I jumped on it. But to me, it was natural just to stay in basketball. And then from there, I went to Kentucky, and now I'm at South Florida. And what was the second question? I forgot.
Now, your aspiration to be a head coach one day in college, or you want to be a head coach in the NBA?
Yeah, no, I want to be a college head coach. I think this is my 10th, 11th year in college. I think I've learned a lot. I've been with Cal for about 6-7 years. I learned a great deal from him. Now I came to South Florida to kind of try to do something different and kind of change the program around with Orlando Antigua. So I kind of looking forward to that challenge. We're still in the process of changing it around. But I definitely want to be a head coach. I'm looking forward to that. I'm hoping that I have an opportunity at some point in the near future. I think I'm ready. I think I've paid my dues. I'm a basketball guy. I've played all my life. I have a basketball knowledge, basketball head. So I'm just looking forward to the opportunity of running the program.
You said you're a basketball. Hold on. Let me get one on right here. So you said you're a basketball junkie. Do you still play basketball? And have you ever gone head to head with Orlando Antigua?
Good question.
And for those who don't know, Orlando Antigua actually played for the Harlem Globetrotters. He was actually the first Hispanic to ever play for the Harlem Globetrotters. Absolutely.
And the funny thing is, I do still play. I still enjoy playing. I'm gonna play till I can't play no more. Obviously I can only 1-2 step you now for about a 5-point game, but can't go that long. But me and Orlando used to play when we were in Kentucky, but we were on the same team. We would play pickups. And one day Orlando tore his Achilles in a pickup game, and that kind of slowed me down from playing basketball because I started saying to myself, because Orlando was rolling around on a little bike with his leg, and so I'm saying to myself, if I get hurt, Cal may say, do y'all want to play basketball or y'all want to be coaches? So at that point in time, I said, okay, I better stop playing. If I get hurt and he's hurt, we both might get fired. So I kind of slowed it down. I slowed it down in Kentucky. I still play every now and then, but I am worried about getting hurt. So not as much. All
right.
Rod, before we let you out of here, last question. I know you said your aspiration is to be a college coach. If you could have one job in college basketball, what job would it be?
Oh, man, I like the DePaul University job. I like to coach my
I was thinking you were going to say that.
I played for. Yeah. And I don't mean that, I know someone's there now, but just that would be ideal situation.
Come back full circle.
I don't think there's nothing wrong with wanting to coach your alma mater. I think that's, like you said, it's coming full circle. You played there, you started there, you made your name there. That's like Roy Williams.
A lot of ties there. A lot of people I know. So, yeah.
Well, Rod, like I said, it was such a great pleasure to have you on the show. Take some few minutes out of your time. I know you're probably watching the playoffs. I know you definitely keep an eye, especially on the Cleveland Cavaliers, but, and also recruiting and getting all this stuff done. But we really appreciate you being on the show, and we definitely have to do this again soon.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me, and I'll definitely love to come back.
Thank you, Rod.
Rod Strickland, everybody.
Okay.
Rod was one of these guys that, Eric, I grew up watching. I mean, my dad, when we were watching those games on WGN, he would say, listen, Rod had the handles, Rod was this, Rod was that, Rod was going to be a star. And 13,000 points, 7,000 assists later, Rod did his thing in the NBA. I mean,
14,000 points.
14,000 points. Wow, I shorted him 1,000 points.
You shorted him 1,000
but
points.
He's one of the nicer guys you ever meet. I had a chance to run across him for a brief moment at the American Athletic Conference tournament 2 months ago back in Orlando, and he spoke to me for like a minute or two, but he was really, really a nice guy. It was kind of a rough season for South Florida, but you can tell watching him on the sidelines that he has a lot going for him in the future. So big shout-outs for having Rod on the show tonight. And Eric, before we go into the bottom of the hour break, everybody knows that we have our artist from our good friends, Yippee-Ki-Yay Blues, and they always provide us some great music every single week, and we always want to give a big shout-out to them. Eli Cook was on last week, and this week, of course, is no exception. I mean, we go from Eli Cook, one of the best blues artists there is in the country, to someone else who's superly talented, as well as, for me, listening to her music is actually a very eclectic sound, is Amy Hart. And her song is called Put Me Back off the album Congratulations. So as we go to break, we're going to play Amy Cook's song. And when we get back, Eric and I are going to talk about the game that is going on tonight. Eric, the epic Game 5 showdown between the Spurs and the Thunder. I know who I'm taking. Eric knows who he's taking. But let's figure out who can actually argue the point better. We're right back at the top of the hour. This is Full Court Press Radio here on the Happy Hour Network and the Full Court Press Radio app.
Got me scattered on the carpet, sprinkled on the floor. 1 foot here and 1 arm there. My head rolled out the door. Put me back, Lord. Put me back the right way this time. I can't keep it all together.
We're all born with the blues, whether we want to admit it or not. Though you'll truly experience the blues from a different yet very unique perspective when you visit Yippee-Ki-Yay Blues. At Yippee-Ki-Yay Blues, you'll experience some amazing sounds from aspiring talented musicians in the blues genre. Be sure to download Yippee-Ki-Yay Blues Android app from Google Play Store and get wired to the Rattled Beach Show on Friday nights. Blues on YippieKiYayBlues.com.
NBA Lead will be your ultimate destination for up-to-the-moment expert commentary on all trending NBA topics and headlines. The digital broadcast network will offer hours of live content, plus more than hundreds of on-demand videos each week. It provides news, highlights, live look-ins, our own analysis, music, and conversations from around the NBA world. Moving at the speed of Twitter, it pushes from headline to headline, topic to topic. When all said and done,